Good morning. My name is Kara Q. Smith, and I am co-founder of Craft Strategy Studio. Every year, the nonprofit sector spends $1.5 billion on strategic plans. Often clocking in at 100 pages long, these languish on shelves full of unimplemented priorities. This keeps hardworking executive directors up at night, who are on the hook for reporting impact, motivating program staff, and securing funding to do good in their communities. These plans aren't getting implemented because they don't track accountability, employees turnover and progress is lost, and these plans, despite what every consultant has ever said, are not actually living documents that can pivot alongside an organization. My co-founder, Sean O'Shea, and I have seen this problem all too often through decades of combined experience, consulting, serving on nonprofit boards, and leading nonprofit organizations and departments. We can help. What if nonprofits and economic development organizations could update or build their strategic plans in a few hours instead of half a year and get their teams aligned and motivated to achieve the change that matters? Achieving this requires a shift in the common mindset of strategic planning away from bulky static directives to an iterative, standardized, team-focused approach. Craft Strategy Studio offers strategic planning services that can do just that and can help organizations of any size. Strategy sprints are short-form, facilitated strategy sessions that allow teams to build consensus around the priorities that matter and drive action within the organization and the community it serves in approximately 6 hours. And it's not just a one-off. Our innovative subscription service offers quarterly assessment of action items and builds a community of organizations that have been through the process. We also offer strategy labs, sessions designed to complement, enhance, test, or complete an existing strategic plan. For example, layering diversity, equity, and inclusion principles into your priorities. In short, Craft Strategy Studio is like a personal trainer for strategic planning. Projected financials show us at just over $300,000 EBITDA by year 3. This is with a very modest new customer growth and customer retention model. If we are able to secure capital at launch to accelerate customer acquisition, our ability to grow would be much greater. We would also have more ability to reinvest profits from operations back into innovating our products and services to stay ahead of the competition. Early versions of strategy sprints have been successful with Arrowhead Center at NMSU and the Technology and Economic Development Division of Sandia National Labs. And we most recently completed a test strategy sprint with the staff and board members of the Co-Center in Santa Fe, and have an upcoming test session with the Fairbanks Economic Development Corporation in Fairbanks, Alaska. What's next? We are securing a $10,000 loan to help cover startup costs. We are seeking $200,000 in a pre-seed convertible note, SAFE, or revenue-based financing to accelerate market penetration. Our near-term priorities are to form a Delaware B Corp, build out our website and social platforms, design our planning templates, and launch a marketing campaign. By year 5, we want to be continuing to innovate in this space. What does successful strategic planning look like in virtual reality? We are committed to serving nonprofits for free based on need through a simple application on our website. Many nonprofits who do great things in their communities operate with minuscule budgets and just 1 to 2 staff. A little strategy can go a long way for these folks. All executive directors deserve to sleep better at night. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Hey, great job. So questions for Kara and Sean from our judges.
John, it sounds like I need to start because the bullet hole goes right to my area. I'll say a great presentation, and ouch, you're definitely looking at a problem we're all trying to solve. Thank you. I did have a question about how you're going to break through the sort of common wisdom that strategic plans are living documents. I don't know if you've done any, I know you're at the problem solving stage, but have you done any search around talking to agencies, governments about what you have now and audit the process so that they can recognize, here's how you can compare?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I know that, having worked for an EDO before as well, for a Main Street organization and such. I'm familiar a little bit on the inside track, but I think from this auditing perspective, that's great advice. I don't think that we've done a ton of that. I think we're more just have like an awareness and an instinct, and that's a great suggestion.
Other questions from our judges?
Sorry, I
Silence.
don't I don't know this space well enough to, I guess, ask any questions. However, I was taking a look at because it looks like you were going to secure a $10,000 loan to kind of get things going. If you can, I would just try to bootstrap that. I just went through that process. I used a registered agent in Delaware to do our incorporation documents. It costed us a few $100s, and that's because we expedited it. And that kind of just gets you to that initial point where I guess you're set up to raise money. And from there, later on you can go back and restructure, file some restructuring documents once you actually have that money in the bank. Because yeah, just getting $10,000 in debt right off the bat just to kind of do these initial things that you could kind of hack together and bootstrap together would be probably, that's the way that I like to do things, but I'm cheap, and so that's just how it's always worked for me.
No, that's great. Thanks. Working capital is definitely a key part of the initial stage of this.
Yeah.
I understand the need for what you're doing, and so it's very intriguing. In your presentation, I think it would be helpful, and it's a question, to explain a little bit more how this sort of agile, because it sounds like it's like an agile planning process, how that works so that you can do it so quickly. It's hard to grasp it, and I was a little challenged by that. The need is enormous, absolutely enormous. So I'm asking you for a little few more specific.
That's great. Yeah, thank you for that. So sort of giving an example or mirroring how the process might work, or giving a visual of what it is that we're doing that just takes less time without giving away all our secrets.
Yes.
Thank you.
Drew, any questions from?
Well, excellent presentation. And you got details on the security offering, and the Delaware stuff feels very solid. I think I support you, as do probably many on this call, that we want to help our nonprofits, but gosh, what a painful community to sell into, right? So do you want to sell your product to people who can't afford you? So tell me a little bit about kind of how you're going to overcome that problem, and then also the competition question, however you feel like addressing it.
Absolutely. I think some great leads are around getting started with folks who have affiliates already. So with national or state level orgs that have affiliate nonprofit organizations, incorporating this as part of standard practice into their own evaluation tools. The same would go for funders. A lot of foundations, in order to fund nonprofits, do require some level of strategic planning or strategic priorities included in order to be kind of accepted. So it's connecting kind of on this level where maybe it can be incorporated as a process from other folks we could work with. So looking at contracting in that way. I think it's sort of systems change too, in a way, right? It's a slow build. And I think it's also maybe thinking through ways of marketing. It is for a price point, I've worked at many orgs where strategic planning is 60 to 100K investment, right? And we're talking about like around the 8K mark here. So I think that it's thinking about marketing and thinking about leveraging that marketing to help a nonprofit see how you could write that into your grant proposal, or how this investment could lead to, again, more potential funding, like from foundations and things like that. Markets that are kind of funding markets that can be kind of challenging to penetrate when you're a small nonprofit. And then competition wise, It's a great question. I think the edge right now is really this model and like thinking scale. So the idea that there could be modular components to this that are tech-based, like a dashboard, et cetera, something that you track long-term. But I think it's really the subscription model that is really different. So addressing competition, I think, is more, there's a lot of competition out there, but I think it's really trying to angle into this space. So this isn't something that we just leave on the shelf and kind of leave you with, but for a pretty like low quarterly cost, you can just have us check in with you on your progress and help reassess if necessary. That's a space that I don't think is being taken up yet.
Okay.